Shachi, why don't you talk about what you're doing over there at your restaurants?
Sure. So we had to obviously close our first location, which is in the Anaheim Packing House, because it's a food hall and people aren't allowed to gather. What we knew about that location, even though eventually, like a week or 2 weeks later, we were asked if we wanted to start doing takeout from that location, we knew that because of the location, the takeout orders that we were getting, even in a normal time, were mostly people that were visiting. So Disneyland, Convention Center, things like that. And all those people are gone. There's no one there. There's no Disneyland, there's no Convention Center, there's no tourists. So that location we have closed, and it's still closed. It's been almost a month. The Irvine location was already set up to go and for takeout. So that one we've continued. One thing that we've started doing, I noticed friends of mine at OC Baking Company, Dean Kim, had started a pop-up almost about a month ago. And he has opened up his wholesale bakery to his colleagues and friends and opened up a pop-up. So for him, he had to lay off about 90% of his staff because he was a wholesale baker selling to restaurants, and most of his clients are closed or closing or reduced so significantly that affects his business immediately. So he's selling bread that helps him keep the team that he has employed. And the rest of us are doing, Crema's doing pastries, Sessions is doing sandwiches and salads. We're doing prepackaged curries, and we're gonna start doing naan tomorrow. We're doing prepackaged spice mixes. I'm giving that with a recipe for people to go home and cook it. And what I've found being at this market with a bunch of other vendors, because we're adding vendors, we have dumplings coming in twice a week. We have paella and empanadas. We have mini donuts, and we're gonna have one more next Friday. So we're only open Monday to Friday, and what I'm finding is people want something that they can eat right now, but for the most part, people are almost used to cooking at home now. And they want to make something different today. So a lot of people that are picking up Indian food for me are like, oh, this is gonna add some fun to our weekly menu planning. And we have this week planned, so we'll come back next week and get this from you. But what I found is people want something they can take home and do themselves. And we're going to take that sort of business learning that we're doing at the market every day and apply that to when we reopen Anaheim, and to once Irvine sort of gets into, when we get to a place where we're not just takeout and delivery, because people want to be able to come in and get something cold and take it home and put it in their fridge and maybe eat it today or maybe eat it tomorrow. Maybe put it in the freezer and eat it next week, because it's all planned that way. But people are wanting to buy stuff that is take homeable in a way. So we're prepping for that. I know people, my friends that have full service restaurants, where you need to start thinking about how you're going to get tables out and where are you going to put them. If you can't have as many tables in your restaurant, where are you going to store them in the meantime? And are we all going to, turn to single serve, single use utensils and plates and single use menus and cups? There's a lot that we have to think about as restaurants as we move forward, because we're not going back to where we were. There's going to be a new way we all do business, and there's a new way that people are eating, and we have to be prepared for that.
Yeah, and there was just a couple points that I wanted to make. One is the importance of how the message is communicated to the customer right now. One of the things that Shachi does is she's out there herself, standing in front of her customers, and basically selling her product and speaking them directly. And one of the things I've noticed, and I've been working with a few different clients on this, is trying to get them, even if it's the general manager level, if you have multi-units, to make sure that that's the person that's talking to your customers, and to utilize all the resources that you have, whether it's social media. We've talked about using Nextdoor app to be able to go in and have a conversation with your community so that you know what it is that they're looking for. Because we're obviously in a situation where we're not doing business as usual. I have one client he's, sells a lot of Asian fusion, but he made up some cool pizzas because people were asking for pizza. But he went out and he went on Nextdoor and he went on social media and he asked his customers, what is it that you would like me to do? And again, I'm not suggesting that that's the only conversation you should have with them, but I am suggesting that you have a conversation with your clientele, because that relationship is going to pay huge dividends once we get sort of back on track, and people are going to have a connection that they didn't have before. Go ahead, Shachi.
That personal connection is something that is also not only going to help you later, it's sort of helping Carrie right now, right? So for your friend who's making pizza because that's what people asked him to do, it's being available, creating a bond of trust. People know everyone's suffering together, right? It's just everyone's suffering is different in some form. But if I'm there and I'm able to talk to you about what I'm doing and you're able to talk to me about how what I'm doing helps you, or if I did this, it would help you more, or whatever the case may be. And that's true for all of our vendors there at the pop-up. All the owners are there, and we're the ones talking to the people and kind of figuring it out as we go. It's also, to be honest, really nice to be in a space full of peers that are in the same boat, and we can talk about it and we can sort of brainstorm solutions for all of the current issues that we're all facing together.